well, this evening, as we're waiting on a storm to roll in and destroy all of us, I have a chance to sit down with the stars of Console Wars. I've got Dan Bulich and Patrick Brennan.
Nailed it.
Ooh,
He told
what's
me
up?
if I got that name wrong, he knew where I lived. And he's from Jersey, so he could probably make something happen.
That's
Boom.
right. Got the Pine Barrens out here.
Mm-hmm. Lots of them.
They are also better known as Nintendo and Sega.
I'm sick.
All right.
Nintendo.
Just happy to be here. All right, so yeah, thanks for being on here, guys.
Oh, well, thank you for having us.
So, first thing, what were like your inspirations for starting the channel and like going this direction? Because it was, for me, when I first came across Console Wars, I was looking up. I was actually looking up documentaries about the different consoles on YouTube because there's so many of those out there, and I started thinking about the two, and I saw something that said Console Wars. I'm like, that could be cool, and I clicked, and immediately I hear I'm Nintendo, I'm Sega. I'm like, I'm sold immediately.
Yes, so I was hoping that would hook people, and it seems like it's working.
Mm-hmm.
So I came up with the idea for Console Wars. I can remember exactly what I was doing. I was looking up video game music. I was looking up music for this old Super Nintendo game called East 3, because I like listening to video game music sometimes. And I was looking up music for it on YouTube, and I came across the soundtrack, and I started listening to it. I was like, that doesn't sound right. What the hell's wrong with this one? Then I realized I was listening to the Sega Genesis version. I was like, oh, wow, it's really
That's what's
different.
wrong with it.
And then I was like, somebody should compare these. The nerd should do it. I was a huge angry video game nerd fan back in the day. Still am. And, I was like, man, it'd be so cool if he did videos like that where he just compared Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. And then I was like, why wait for him to do it when I can just freaking do it? So then I decided at that point, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll try doing this video comparison thing where I just compare Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis games. So I was like, okay, I'll try that. I approached a couple of my friends about it because I was like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I'm a music guy. I have no idea how to make videos. So asked a couple of friends. Eventually I got to Greg. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I know how to capture video game footage. I have this AV cable thing. I forget exactly what it was. But he had a way to capture video game footage. So I was like, okay, so you're definitely helping me do this. And originally, he was just going to help me just capture the game footage and maybe
Your
notice.
key guy.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty much the background guy, the technical support guy. And then, if anything, he would just help me. And then I'd just be the guy in the camera, kind of like the nerd, just talking to the camera like, this game's ass and this game's good. And then after I talked to him about it, he's like, yeah, I'll be down. So all I got to do is just get the game footage. I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
And I drive home. And as I'm driving home, I'm like, shit, you know what might be actually better? Can I curse on here?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Good to know.
So I say, you know what might actually be better if it's like two guys doing it, and then you have one guy that's Nintendo and one guy that's Sega, and then people could pick which person they like based on the games they like, and then we could actually have sides, and people can be like, oh, this guy sucks or this guy is awesome. And so I thought of this whole concept as I was driving home from his house, and as soon as I got home, I typed this long ass email of the pros and cons of me doing it by myself and pros and cons of me doing it with him. And then after twisting his arm forever, after typing out this long ass email, kind of like what you emailed to us, he just emails, okay. I was like, yes. And that's pretty much how it started.
It's a good way to get going, I guess. Now there's people that are totally upset. They're thinking, oh, he spent months just crafting this idea. Nope, drove it in the car, thought about it.
I mean, it took a while after to which category should I do, or how should I do it? Should there be this added? I was taking elements from a lot of different sources, like Angry Video Game Nerd, like I said. Nostalgia Critic had the series Old versus New that I really liked. There's this great series called Kenny versus Spenny. I highly recommend it for anybody that likes friends doing head-to-head competitions in anything.
I think I've even come across them.
Yeah, one episode they did. I'm just gonna go off on Kenny and Spenny. You're one episode is who can make the biggest fart. That's how great this show is.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I was taking from a lot of different sources.
That's when we really run out of games, when we get there.
I can't wait. I eat a lot of beans.
It's going to be a couple 70-year-olds being like, I can fart.
I was gonna say, when I first started looking at some of the videos you guys had out at the time, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, what happens if they run out of these games? Then I started looking it up myself. I'm like, I'm going to do a quick search and see how many games are. Holy shit!
Yep.
They'll have plenty to keep busy for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis games still, and like we've already started doing NES versus Sega Master System, and then there's a ton of those games. So, well, yeah, we got plenty. We got plenty.
We got those. We got the accessories, like you said, the light guns. I mean, there's enough you could play around for a while.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on you guys to do a comparison between the original 3 Mega Man games and the Wily Wars. I'm a Mega Man nut. That's actually how I found Ryan Molina's channel.
Oh, wow.
I was on Amazon and did a search on there. I typed in Mega Man on the Amazon Prime, and it popped up with his videos. So I found him on Prime, not on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
He was like, holy crap, no one finds me on Prime. I guess I'm no one. Congratulations. So, Pat, what got you into doing that? I know when you came in, but were you involved in any way before you started becoming on screen, or?
I was not. So after,
No.
no, I had nothing to do with it whatsoever. After Dan had posted the video about the future of everything, he had talked to me about it. I mean, probably 2 months after all that went down. And I was like, all right, this sounds fun. Sounds interesting. We could try that out. And, I think it was January was my first actual episode. So I guess we went through like holidays of 2 years ago filming it. And then, I think January was my first episode. And prior to that, like Dan and I have probably known each other 17-ish years. So
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. And now he just asked me if I'd be interested because I also grew up in comic books and nerdy and video games, all that. So I have the proper background, if you will.
So, like, growing up, I'd say we probably all three came in on those same consoles. And I remember growing up, all the kids were doing the back and forth. Nintendo sucks, Sega's better, and back and forth. So instantly, I think the premise is great because it's something that resonates so well with so many people, especially that grew up with that.
To tap into that nostalgia.
Oh yeah, I think our generation is the most nostalgic to ever exist.
Probably.
Mm-hmm. Then again, you got to think we had a lot of cool shit growing up. Previous generations, are you really going to be nostalgic over World War II? Probably not.
Yeah, my son, he's 11, and he's big into like Fortnite and stuff now. And I'm like, I said, you tell me, oh, this is hard, that's hard. I'm like, no, that's not hard.
Right.
Try the stress of playing through Mega Man 1. That is hard.
Like, you want to see Rage Kid? Here's Ghostbusters.
I did finally sucker him into playing Ghosts and Goblins. Okay. And he's like, that doesn't look hard. He's like, that looks cartoony. I said, just play it, kid. Yep. I will sit back and laugh.
Ouch.
This is now your new punishment.
You must beat this game or take the lashings. Yay for child abuse humor.
You made it. You can do whatever you want with that. I don't think that's accurate. Don't do that. Pretty sure that is against laws.
Only if you're caught, which we're putting this on the internet, so we'll get caught pretty quick.
I was going to say, as you're saying that with a cinder block wall behind you, don't.
Yeah. That's real reassuring, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't tilt the camera to the left. There's like chains.
Yeah, we put that in the way there. Yeah, I actually was going to set up, I had a better room to do this at, but it's noisy in there. So I was like, I can get away from the kids if I go over this way. So here I am in a room that apparently used to be a garage at one point.
Okay. Repurpose, whatever, man. Do what you got.
And now my computer's being weird again. But I will keep this in there so everyone knows I had a weird moment.
That's how it goes. Every time you go live, it might run great up until.
I
Oh,
always have
exactly.
problems.
Yep.
I always have problems streaming. Every time I stream, there's always
Every-
something.
Every time I post something, I was like, "Oh, what time you want to go live later?" He's like, "I don't know, 8." I was like, "All right, so should I say 8:30?" Like that window.
Yeah, the last wrestling show I worked at, I was getting ready to go to the ring, and they announced me, and the music wouldn't play. And the guy backstage is freaking out, and he's like hitting all the buttons and unplugging all the cables. And finally, I just said, "I don't need that." And I came up to the ring and was raising hell, complaining to the fans that liked me about how the people backstage don't care. And I was like, I'll just rile them up the best I can.
Yeah.
I said, "Get the next guy's music ready." I'm used to technical difficulties. But yeah, so what was the first console war video?
The first episode was Aladdin.
Okay, I have seen that one. That was a really good one.
Yeah, I chose that because I remember when I got the VHS of Aladdin back in the day when you had those Disney cases that like opened up like
Clam
the
Those were
Bible,
cool.
like oh,
Yep.
it came with like I guess a promo ad of the Super Nintendo game. I don't know if the Sega Genesis game was on there, but I know the Super Nintendo game was definitely on there. And I had the Sega Genesis game before I even saw the movie. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so like I'm looking at the pictures of the Super Nintendo game, and I'm just like, this looks terrible compared to what I have. And that's why I decided to go with that one for my first episode, because it was the first time a little console wars got in little Dan Bulich's head.
A little flicker of light.
So what all goes for anyone that, there's a lot of people that watch these things and stuff to try to look, they're wanting to make their own videos. Like for me, trying to get into doing making my own, I didn't realize how much work would go into it. How much work goes into a console wars episode?
It's a lot of work.
On my end, a little. Dan's end, quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a lot because I have to play not one but two games, and then I have to dissect like the differences. And the more similar the games are, the harder that is. And I really have to kind of put the screenshots like side by side and just like try to pick out anything like, oh, there's a spider web there, and there's not one there. That's a difference. Aha! Yeah, so I gotta really pay attention to like the smallest details sometimes. So it takes a while to get through the games, and if they're bad games, then it takes me a while, and I get a lot of anger. So
yeah,
that goes into it, and then I gotta write the script.
Yeah.
Usually I'll start with the comparison stuff, and then I'll add the jokes and stuff later. After that, we usually do voiceovers, and that's when Pat comes into the picture. Usually he does the voiceovers. And then usually the week after that, after I've already started some editing, then we do the live stuff. And depending on the video, like lately we've been doing a lot of green screen, so it's taking a little bit longer every time lately.
What was the one we did? What was it? Vikings took a while, but there was one we did.
Rough.
Oh, Double Dragon. Oh my god.
Yeah. There's a lot of green screen Double Dragons. We played multiple characters in that episode. So that took a while. So like I'll film there, and then if there's a lot of green screen stuff, I'll be like, okay, Pat, we'll just film your green screen stuff. I'll go home and film my own green screen stuff on my own, which I have to do. And I have a tiny basement. I'm 6 feet tall. I hit my head a lot. I curse a lot. I get angry a lot in that basement. I hate this basement in this house. I can't wait to not live here. Anyway, so after we got all that stuff, then I continue editing, and hopefully I got everything. Sometimes I might have to be like, Pat, we might have to reshoot this. We might have to re-record
some
this.
lines that didn't come out right, or we accidentally missed one, and fortunately, that's something I can at least do here and just email it.
Yeah. Sometimes like I completely forget to shoot a thing, so I'll have to like green screen myself in front of like a picture of his couch, because that's where we film it at Pat's. Yeah. So if I miss something,
couch right back here.
the couch.
Yes.
Yeah, so sometimes there's a shot of me in front of a green screen that looks completely bad, but I feel like it's like it works for our show. So
there's been a few that I wouldn't have even noticed if you didn't point them out.
Yeah.
And then when you did, I was like, oh yeah, that's
So it takes a while. There's a lot of work. So I know a lot of people are like, some fans are just like, you should release videos more often. Yeah, I would like to.
We get that a lot. And we're like, we have lives.
I mean, lives,
Yeah.
jobs.
Right.
It's not, you can't really do that. But yeah, if I work really hard at it, maybe a solid 2 weeks of work straight. If I really push it, but usually that's why it usually takes a month because I got to spread it out and
Right.
I,
Yeah.
I want to do the games justice, so I got to really play the games a lot, especially if they're games I don't really know. You know.
And like we've had a few months where we did actually manage to get 2 episodes out, and we like will rush not rush through them, but like really work to get them done in time. Like Adam's Family, we wanted done in time for Halloween, like to have an
Yeah.
actual episode. And then I think, was that the same month we did Double Dragon?
No, I think that was Fatal Fury.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So I really push myself, and then I kind of, ignore my wife a lot. She loves that.
Yeah.
So I don't get in trouble a lot.
And I get exhausted because I got to exercise these acting chops. So,
Now, the most important question then, if you're doing the extra work on the videos, does that mean that Pat's responsible for the beer?
sometimes and beer sometimes.
Yes, I do. Sometimes I'm just like, come on, man, I need some shots before we get started. Or like sometimes I've just had a long day. Yeah.
Either before we get started or when we get to like a little hiccup in the middle or at the end, we're like, hey, we did it. We like shots.
Yeah. Usually.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually
I used
once
to run a bar.
Oh, that's awesome. My wife used to be a bartender, so.
Oh, there you go.
And Pat works at a bar.
I work at a brewery, but I've bartended for many years.
There you go.
I did almost burn the bar down one Sunday.
But almost.
I was trying to experiment with flaming drinks. It's a bad idea, kids. Don't try this at home. Don't try it in the bar unless you own it.
Flaming Moe's?
Spirits. Yeah.
I was trying to take the rainbow shot drink and trying to find a way to make that a flaming drink, and it worked. And then I tried it a second time, and the fire wouldn't go out.
Mm-hmm.
And all I remember about it is it was mid-afternoon. We weren't open, and the guy that owns the jukebox was there, like taking the money out, and his back is turned to the bar, and the whole room is lit up by this fire that's raging on top of the bar top. And my buddy's there panicking, and this guy has no idea there's a fire right behind him. And I throw all of our towels on it, and yank the.
You're gonna say bar rag.
Sink, and I'm spraying the sink with water, trying to put a fire out. And this guy has no idea what's going on behind him. I'm like, what hell have I done? And I look, and there's like a little scorch line right in the middle of the bar. I was like, yeah, that was me. The owner came in like a month later and noticed it, and he's like, what happened there? I was like, I don't know.
DeLorean upon re-entry. Let it go.
We like, here, we made money. Take money.
Yeah.
Please, money.
I like that idea, though. You guys like rainbows? What about rainbows on fire?
Well, the idea I had was like if you lit one end, I had it where I'd smack one into the drinks and it would splash and light each one. I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is.
And then I made the mistake of trying it again without like starting a new one, and that's why it wouldn't go out. I was like, I'm not doing it ever again.
Yeah. That is a sign.
Yeah. All because we had a bartender come in the night before as like a guest bartender, and he did all the like fire breathing stuff. And I was like, I can't do that. Because if I put the alcohol in my mouth, I can't understand spitting it back out.
Right.
Yes.
And not only spitting it back out, but setting it upon fire. What has it done to you?
Fire is good.
Fire's
All right, so instead of waiting to get into it, obviously there was a couple of years ago the channel was in question. There was obviously some doubt about what was going to go on with the future of it. Like that's around the same time I found the channel. You want to tell us a little more about that?
Sure. So a few years ago, Greg decided to leave the channel. He posted a video, which is how I found out about it, because people were texting me at 3 a.m. and it was like, what's happening? I was like, I don't know. So Greg was just in a dark place and he just needed some time. So I was, what can I do? Of course, you need any time, take as much time as you need. So he took some time, a few months passed, and I was finally just went up to him, was like, so what do you think about the channel? I know you're still trying to figure some stuff out. Do you still want to do it, or would it be okay? Because I was thinking about maybe trying to find someone to, kind of replace you. And he was like, yeah, I think that's fine. Just go ahead. You should just keep going because yeah, I think I'm done. I was like, all right. So after that, I was Facebook friends with Pat. Like we've known each other for 17 years, but like we kind of lost touch for a good while, and then we kind of reconnected at the bar scene. Good
We
old
somehow
bar.
always had mutual friends, and that's how it worked out.
Yeah, we always had mutual friends, and so I became Facebook friends with Pat. And then like Pat, like you, like he said, he's like he has like the equipment, like he's a huge geek. Like he'll just post pictures of himself wearing random costumes.
Inaccurate.
For no reason.
Also 100% accurate. I do that.
Yeah, he just does that. So like I just remembered that. Like this fucking guy. Like I definitely wanted to get him on an episode, if anything. And then it was like once Greg quit, I was just like thinking like, well, he seems like he'd fit right in. Like this guy doesn't have any reservations about anything. I think he'd be a good match. It's a good sense of humor. I got along with him pretty well. So once Greg was like, oh, yeah, I'm totally done, I was just like, all right. So then I went to Pat. I still remember, like, I didn't have his phone number, so I was like hoping I would run into him because like he was hosting. Was it an open mic night or?
No, that would have been the ha-has and tatas. That would have been the comedy and burlesque.
Yeah. So you were doing the door that night. Yeah. And so yeah, luckily, Pat said like. Or somebody said that they were doing this event. Actually, our mutual friend.
I was going to say, Reggie probably.
Yeah, Reggie, who I do a podcast with. Retro versus Remake movie podcast.
Boom.
Anyway, so I was going there I could say, like, I'm seeing Reggie, but I was really there just because I wanted to talk to Pat and kind of, like, be like, hey, man, so I have this series and my partner just left. Would you be interested?
He's walking past my locker waiting for me to be there.
Yeah, that's right. You know, just putting the notes in the little tiny slots. So that's kind of how that happened.
So what was it like for you being, asked to be brought into the channel? So I'm sure you probably watched it before that too, right?
Yeah, like I checked out a few episodes, especially after we had talked, and I was like, yeah, I can play with this. And what was my first episode? Was that Mortal Kombat? No, Joe and Mac.
I actually watched that one on my drive home tonight from work.
Did you?
By watch, I mean it was like next to me. I wasn't
so. Right. I was wondering like how you were doing that.
I have
wait, he's on a dinosaur.
I've got a 45-minute drive from work, and it's almost a straight road the whole time.
Oh wow.
So it's a whole lot of just hold your hand here, you're good.
Oh jeez.
So I'll set the phone like right here because I'm like, yeah, I can see what's going on.
Yeah, we don't have any of that in Jersey. It's like, here's another jug handle. And
here's some more traffic. Stop, go, yell, flip the finger.
It's the only place I can think of on one end of a road, you're in a cornfield, and by the end of it, you're in like an industrial complex. It's
oh, nice.
Weird. Yeah. But, after checking it out, like, I did the first episode, and at that point, I'm just like, all right, first run, I'm just like sticking very closely to the script, and then like as we go on, like I'll throw out ideas or say something different, or now like I'm coming up with characters and stuff like that too, and they'll get reused later because Dan likes specific characters more than others, and then after that, like once I got used to it, I was just like, all right, having fun with it, and came through a little more naturally.
Yeah, because when I first got Pat on the show, I was still writing scripts like I was writing for Greg, right? So then, like, I still remember, like, when Pat was doing the voiceovers, I was like, I don't know, that's not how Greg did it. But I didn't really say anything to him. I was like, all right, I guess let him do his thing.
I'm not Greg, Dan. Let me do it.
So it was really weird, especially because I'd written 3 scripts while I was waiting for Greg to kind of, like, make up his mind. So I definitely wrote the early scripts with Greg in mind. And to hear them delivered by Pat, just like, Pat has his own style and everything. So it was very different. But as Pat said, he definitely grew into it. And now I write it with Pat's voice in my head. Right. Super
Nintendo. And I remember like coming into it, it was like the first or I would say the second or third episode, I put something online. It was like, listen, guys, I'm not trying to replace your dad. I just want to be your friend. That had some fun responses.
See, you should just work that into one of the scripts.
Well,
I kind of figured that the first episode with you in it was the Joe and Mac when it got to the line about complaining about people replacing
the Aunt Viv. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. For some reason, that was like the first thing I thought of, and I was like, "This is perfect. Like
Mhm.
everybody will just accept it because we address it like right away. That's how we're gonna address
Consciously.
it, and that's how it happened. Moving
Right.
on."
Yeah, when I first saw the that you were going to be continuing, I like I said, I first had that thought too of, well, how's this going to be? And my big concern was that whoever was going to be coming on was going to try to just do what Greg did. And I was like, really glad, like from the beginning, it didn't feel like that. It made sense to me, but I could tell, I'm like, okay, he's not trying to be Greg, which is
Mhm.
great.
And I think that's another like a good thing that I did watch a few to get a feel for, but I didn't
Mhm.
like binge a bunch of them because I wasn't trying to emulate that. I was just coming in and as this.
Yeah, I realized even writing my own videos and stuff, if I watch too much of any one YouTube channel before I start writing anything, it shows in what I'm writing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely.
I had one I had to keep editing because I'd been watching a lot of the Angry Video Game Nerd, and I had to start taking all the profanities out because I'm trying not to put a whole lot of those in mine. There was one like right in the middle, and I just shouted "fuck." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Why did I put that in there? That's not what I want to do." And I was like, "Probably because I've been watching him say that a lot."
Yeah. That's the thing. Like we keep all of our actual episodes, we keep those pretty clean, and then when we do the live streams or the like the bloopers especially. Oh my god. There's a lot of language in there, but we do put the warning up beforehand.
Yeah, I try to avoid, I guess, swear words just because
Right.
the angry video game nerd just that's his thing, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to try to be like a cool guy, like this fucking game, that fucking game. So I was like, what am I gonna do? And plus, like, I teach little kids, so it's like, in case one of them ran into this, they don't need to see me just dropping f bombs like
Yeah.
all day.
They
That'd
Unless
be
they
a
want
fun
to
just
stream.
parent teacher
the live
conference.
stream of Jurassic Park and what was the other one? Demolition Man, where you just went on your rage tirade.
Oh yeah, yeah. So just as long as they don't watch the streams, I don't think
Uh-huh.
they do.
So that'd be a really interesting parent meeting with the parents later on, wouldn't it? Hey, my kid learned this word. And he said he got it from you.
Oh god.
What a flumpkin. Like, yeah.
So I'm guessing that did you write the intro song for the channel?
Yeah, I wrote that. I didn't write it for the channel. I actually wrote it just for fun when I used to write a lot of songs back in the day. I was actually teaching one of my students, my guitar teacher, guitar piano teacher, and I was just tuning his guitar. And sometimes when I tune, like I don't want to hand it back because I'm like, well, you're not a good student, so I'm gonna play this a little bit. So I was just playing on his guitar while he's setting up, I guess. And I came up with that melody, that dun, 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 dun. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is kind of like a Mega Man thing. That's what I had in mind when I wrote it. And actually, that's the file still on my computer. It's called Mega Man 11, way before Mega Man 11 ever came out. So yeah, I wrote that song.
It's definitely catchy because like when I was first looking for music for my own channel, trying to find anything that was copyright free, I remember looking back and I was like, I need something cool. I was like, I love what they got. I can't find anything like that. Well, now I know why, because it was a custom piece, even though it wasn't for that. One of these days I'll have to just record my own stuff. I mean, I've got the guitars and everything. I'm very lazy, I guess.
Yeah, I hear
Fair
you, man.
enough.
It's easy to come up with the idea. It's tough to actually like, okay, now I'm gonna sit down with the editing software and like get these different instruments. It's you really gotta like your song to like get every single track laid out.
I've only ever multi-track like recorded one song of mine, and it was such a pain because I didn't have access to a drummer or anything, but I had electric kit, so everything was me. And I'm like, by the end, I'm like, I hate this song. And I had it just about done, and I laid down like 2 solos in it, and I thought it was great. My dad listens and goes, "You really keeping those solos in there? Those suck."
Ouch.
Thanks, Dad. And it made me angry, so I went and recorded another one while I was still angry. And he's like, "I love it." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever."
Maybe he's just helping you out. He's like, he needs a little fire in there.
Uh-huh.
Who knew you had to be angry to play guitar properly?
There you go.
Doesn't hurt.
Unless the reason you're angry is because something hurt you. Then it does hurt.
Then you're
Yeah,
evil,
that's
man. But that's
Yeah, that's
There's
what
my
he
lame
knows for.
humor. But don't.
good. Break out the eyeliner.
I'm gonna go Peter Parker here soon with my hair. Check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. as far as like fan reaction though, how was like the overall reaction for you coming in to that role?
It was actually a very warm reception. What I find kind of funny though, like I said, I'm a little over 2 years in now since we started, and we'll still occasionally get comments like, "Where's the other guy?" I'm like, you missed like 30 videos. But yeah, like coming in, everybody was actually pretty cool about it. There were a couple comments in the opposite direction, but it's honestly going through the comments and seeing stuff like that. I kind of laugh my ass off at a lot of them. You kind of have to, but it's just they're hysterical to me. I mean, I'll screenshot some of them and send them to Dan. I was like, this guy literally wants to punch us in the face. He said.
Those are always the best ones, right? I mean,
yeah, overall, the fans seem pretty receptive. Like, as I put out that video, fans are supportive of Greg, fans are supportive of me to carry on. So I was really worried. I was very worried.
Mhm.
I was texting Greg and Greg's sister, too. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm freaking out here. But, like, everybody overall, like, I'd say 99%. There's still that 1% that's like, look the other guy better. It's like, oh,
Yep.
you can go fuck yourself. How about that?
Yeah. You know what? With somebody who had nothing to lose, I'm cool as a cucumber. You know?
Oh, you don't like your free internet show? Oh, I'm so sorry for you.
Why do you guys have to do the skits? Because it's fun.
Yeah.
otherwise, it's like, why do it if I can't do the skits?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to a documentary. And I mean, are we educational? Hell yeah. Still.
Yeah, well, I will say there's several times I've watched episodes and you talk about you have to pick out the specific little details that you're pointing things out and I'm going, what? Oh. And I have to do a double take. So you're like, that's different there. And I'm like, I don't get it. But yeah, I accidentally made the mistake of closing the questions. Again, 2 interviews in a row, I shut them down. I am awesome at this, can't you tell? Maybe I'll write them down on paper from now on.
No,
You know
keep
what's
them.
funny?
No, don't do that. Computer.
Don't fix it, right? Don't fix it. Keep doing this.
You know what? Every time we do a live stream, we have our little games. Dan's always like, "Oh, I have everything on my computer right here," and then he'll do the same thing. He'll close something or like he'll forget to move a box or a screen. I'm like, "Oh, I don't do that. I got my little pad."
But I don't repeat myself. I repeat what you might have said because it's not on my computer. But I won't.
Well, you know what? I don't remember. I repeat myself because we're usually drinking when we do it.
So I've always wondered, which do you guys enjoy doing more? Which is better or which is worse videos?
I would. I mean, there's so few.
There's not a whole lot of the
Worse
which is
videos.
worse.
Yeah.
They are
guess-
fun when we do them, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's usually easier to do the which is better. Like sometimes I'm doing the which is worse. I'm like, why did I decide that? That's so
Yeah.
dumb. So I guess if I had to pick, I'd like the which is better. I generally don't
I
like
think I
being a
do,
negative person. Just being like, this game sucks. Well, this game sucks. I mean, it's like a comedy spoof. Like this game sucks more, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah,
so
and
we have
that's
like a
it. I
little
mean,
bit of a
similar
twist on it.
formula.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but like in general, it's just easier to do better because that just makes more sense.
Like, oh, I hope they took this developer out back and shot him. Who made it?
Yeah, I came across the Bram Stoker's Dracula video today. I'd never seen that one yet, and I'd only seen a couple of the worst ones. I was halfway through watching it before I really was. I was like listening to it while I was also like sending messages to you, and I was like, wait a minute, what? Because I hear, oh wait, no, your game is way better than mine. I'm like, what? Oh, it's one of the worst ones. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember that episode. I know there was a puppet. We
Yeah.
had a roommate that was a vampire. Okay. It was a Halloween
Yeah, I was
episode.
into that, but
Okay.
I've even watched that one because I that was one of the few episodes I watched because other than Keanu Reeves, I love that movie.
Now, see, that kind of comments what's going to have people commenting on mine telling me how they got to punch you in the face now.
But that's old Keanu versus now like legend Keanu.
Very different,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. This
It
was
used
like
to
a
be
hot
popular
off
in
the heels
Haiti.
of Bill and Ted, and he's like, Lucy, why? Like it was the worst accent ever.
That's okay. If you ever really want to make someone mad at you in the comment section, all you have to do during any video is just wear a Nickelback shirt for a second.
And that makes sense.
Instantly, they'll
I agree with
hate
those
you.
people.
Like, we hate that guy because he endorsed someone for a thing. He had a thought and an opinion.
And that is the internet.
Oh, I learned that the hard way. About a month ago, I made a video about how people just follow hate online so easily.
Hmm?
And because I made the mistake, I guess, of the example I used was that Boogie 2988,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people hate him. I've never had a video get more comments than that one, and it was all people telling me how terrible I am for liking the guy. And I'm like, that's not the point. The point was don't make your conclusions based off someone else saying, well, this person sucks or that person sucks.
Form an opinion.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite YouTubers that I watch now are ones that I came across those, well, this person's failing and they're dying and it's terrible videos. So I'm like, I want to check it out and see what I think. Oh, they're funny. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, some people just get so big, people just want an excuse to, like, tear them down. Like,
Right.
talking about Boogie's, like, so fucking huge. So, like, some
Mhm.
people just like, well, fuck that guy. And people, like, always look for an excuse, like,
Yep.
to just hate sometimes. Like, I'm talking about
Oh,
the subject
yeah.
of your video. It's ridiculous. Just outrage culture. Like, I just want to be mad at something for some reason.
Like my
I'm
personal
sure there's-
favorites are when we get comments like that, and Dan will just like basically not kill him with kindness, but be like he'll comment and someone's like, "Oh, maybe I was wrong."
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way I come back at negative comments. I'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry you don't like that. We
That's one of
we
the
really
things
enjoy
we
it, and I
do.
hope one day you come back and we can all be buddies." Oh, I might have been a bit out of line when I told you to go
Right.
fuck yourself and eat your, whatever.
And then there's other times where you'll comment and be like, "No, he wasn't having any of it that day."
Oh yeah, sometimes I'll just be like, "Well, it's time to destroy a soul." Here I go.
Those are the good ones.
and those ones I like to post on Twitter for some reason.
Screenshot's an amazing thing.
Yeah, I had people on there commenting that were like responding saying, "Oh, see, we're getting under your skin." I'm like, "No, you're not. I'm loving this. This is the most attention my channel's gotten in ages. Thank you."
You're giving me stuff to work off of.
I've always said, how do you know when you're successful? People hate you.
The nice thing about a heckler online versus a heckler in person, you can't hear that one in person, and they're not yelling over you. You have time to go back and make your comment about what they're doing.
You'll know that the console wars has arrived when you find a website online somewhere or a Reddit thread about how console wars is evil.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yep.
People are like, we did it.
We've already had a lot of people have our backs for the Console Wars documentary that stole our name and logo.
Well, not the name. The name was
Not the
already
name,
out
the
there.
name is right.
The logo is
100%.
definitely looking a little bit
Yeah,
too
I
much
saw
like
that.
ours. Yeah. Yeah, CBS. We All Access. We know.
Yep.
You saw it and you just took it.
There's other fonts, guys. Come on.
They had some guy there that is probably grossly underpaid and extremely overworked. He's like, I got to find something that works.
Yeah, I guarantee
Google
that's
it.
exactly
He's
what
like,
happened.
"Done, saves, print."
I still get tagged this day, like on Twitter, like, "Man, I really like this documentary, Console Wars, guys." And it's like, that wasn't us. So
Yep.
I'll be like, that wasn't us. But hey, if you like that, check out the channel.
Yeah.
What you should do is just take that documentary, download it, put your intro in the beginning of it, and just re-upload it. See how
There you
long it
go.
takes someone to respond. See how long it takes YouTube to strike it.
Wow, the production quality was great on this one. Thanks, Seth Rogen.
Blur parts of it here and there and add some static effects to it.
Yeah. Just throw in a little
Like-
clip we accidentally forgot to stop recording. So it's just like us walking through the background, like, oh god, and then it's gone.
Excuse me.
That's how you know a video like this is going off the rails, right? We're now picking on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, picking on little CBS.
Aw.
We should
A
pick
little
on them.
CBS, a little later than it could.
All access. We're more of a some access kind of group.
That's right.
They try so hard.
I know. Maybe one day they'll get lucky.
Yeah.
They'll find some audience somewhere.
I always get a kick out of people that are trying to grow channels. They're like, "Oh, I just can't wait for my channel to blow up." I'm like, that's not how it really works. I mean, sometimes, but not really.
Whatever. You know what? There's still a 5-year-old out there getting paid millions to open toys online.
Yep.
Yeah, when I saw those videos when my son was real little, he showed me some of those. He liked them. I'm like, oh my god, if
Yep.
that's. I was like, yeah, I might as well not put any effort into production quality because clearly that's not important on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which is good because I'm not that great at video editing. I taught myself how to do Photoshop and I got pretty decent at that. Mostly self-taught as a musician, decent enough, I guess. I fake it. But video stuff, you can tell it's really bad.
I had no idea what I was doing. I just been doing it and just keep doing it, and I think I'm getting better.
But you can tell that production is definitely going up, especially now, like seeing more and more of the green screen stuff. Was that something you wanted to do before? Just is that like maybe something a plan for like the future going to be going more that direction with them, or?
Yeah, because like I just jumped into the skits a little bit more, I guess,
Mhm.
recently, and
Yeah, it just opens up a lot more possibilities for like the joke aspect of it.
exactly. I just like to get as crazy or weird with the jokes as much as possible, and if we
Yeah.
can like sort of recreate favorite things from our childhood, then let's go for it. So yeah, and plus I like when I first started, I do everything on a Mac, so I started with iMovie. It's very limited what you could do with a green screen there. And then around the Beauty and the Beast episode, I got Final Cut Pro and a lot more liberating with the split screens and the green screen stuff. Just so much more I can do there. So
Yeah.
the green screen went up significantly since Beauty and the Beast.
I still think one of my favorite green screen moments is the Doom reenactment.
That was freaking awesome. I'm so
Oh,
proud
yeah.
of myself. I was so proud of myself. I made a making a video for that
Uh-huh.
one.
You should do it with more of them.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean,
That's
because
also
like
more work.
it's also more work. Exactly.
Yeah.
You,
More
you,
work than
get,
I'm-
you get it.
Yeah. Do one of the old Star Wars games or something where it's like super blocky looking and just like squished. It's the only
Well-
other thing I can think of first person off the top of my head.
One thing I know we talked about a little before we really started recording here is how this, growing the channel, especially trying to do console wars in the age of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's pretty difficult. Yeah, we did talk about this a little bit. I got COVID. Pat got COVID.
2 weeks
Right.
later.
Like exactly the day I got my test negative, he comes back with his test positive. Like,
Mhm.
sick joke. And then like before that, like we had COVID scares.
We
Like
had so many scares. You
yeah,
had
I'd be like, hey
three,
man,
I
one of my
had
students just tested positive for COVID, and he'd
Yep.
be like, it's one of his coworkers. So,
I had more COVID tests in the last month and a half than I had all of last year.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So it's been rough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know I've seen-
obviously we want to be safe about it, so we're waiting for everybody to be clear and be like, okay, we can,
Mhm.
continue.
Yeah, even I know some, like even a lot of the bigger channels, like we've talked a lot about Angry Video Game Nerd. No, he's talked a lot about that on his channel too. How it's been so difficult. I felt kind of bad for him this year. His Halloween episode was so much downplayed from the previous several years, where it's been going up and up on how big he does it. I was like, man, that's just gotta suck. I mean,
Right.
like Ryan was saying that he said from what he's experienced too, a lot of you'd think that right now during a time when we can't go out and do stuff, there'd be more people watching videos, and that might be a good thing.
Mhm.
He says as far as like payouts from a lot of the ad revenue and stuff has actually gone down. I don't know how that's affected your channel, how it's affected console wars or not, but
That hasn't been affected too much, but like obviously the production's down, so the ad revenue is going to go down too because we're just not putting out as much videos as we would
Right.
like.
Yep.
like I said, when I know I interviewed Ryan Molina about his channel. That was
Ryan
one thing
Molina,
he
this
talked
Ryan
about.
Molina right here.
Yeah, that Ryan Molina.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so Ryan, if you're watching this, we're talking about you now. In fact, you've even got one of those books there. So what book is that we
This
got?
book right here, Let's Play the Dragon, History of Dragon Ball Video Games, Volume 1, First Saga, 1986 to 1997, by Ryan Molina.
All right, now I can put a hashtag Dragon Ball on my video.
You got
color.
bossy.
Yeah, we've made the plug.
You go.
So are you still, how, have you been doing a lot of the other projects lately, or has that been slowed down too, like the retro versus remake, or?
My podcast hasn't slowed down because we've been doing that remote since the pandemic pretty much started. And even when I had COVID, we just missed like 1 week because I was just like so exhausted. I was like, I can't do it. And then we pretty much picked it back up. So we just did another episode this past weekend. So that's going well. It's just, yeah, we have a video in the works right now, me and Pat, but we just haven't filmed it yet. But we did the voiceovers, and the script's already done.
Yeah, voiceovers have been done for got to be a month.
Yeah, yeah, it's about a month
Yeah.
because that's when I went over his house when I had COVID, not knowing it, and we did voiceovers. And luckily, he didn't get it
I
from
was
me
gonna say I
somehow.
was clear from that.
Yeah,
That was my third scare.
That was a fun Friday morning. Hey Pat, you might have COVID from me later, buddy.
Oh. Then I texted Caitlin about it. I was like, oh yeah, here we go. And I mean, the other thing through like the majority of the quarantine, no, we never really did anything. There was nothing to do, so we weren't really worried about, contracting it anywhere. But just to keep things going, we did a lot of like quarantine streams, as we call them.
Yeah, I've seen some of those.
It was like we were all bored. B, everybody else was bored. So I was just like, let's do this. We'll entertain people, and like it's just we'd play games, like not like actually we'd make up games to play on screen, and like everybody else would be in the chat. And I mean, we had like 300, 400 people just kind of hanging out, and it was cool. Like everybody would ask their questions they wanted to ask. They'd play along. They'd answer the questions of the games that we're playing. So it was cool. Kept everybody interactive and entertained.
Yeah, especially those early days, like
Right,
March
exactly.
and April, when we were like, "What is happening? Is this gonna destroy us all?" Like,
Right.
we had no idea what.
Where we were under the impression, no, guys, it's only gonna last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when it first started shutting down here. It was like a week after we had done like the last wrestling show I had been at, and we were waiting on like when can we book the next one, and we were just like still in preliminary talks. The owner was with different business, different buildings about where we could run next, and it's like now I feel like I'm so far along. It's more becoming. It feels like it's almost less of something I do and more something I used to do.
Right.
And I've seen people that were like doing shows with no fans, and I had actually just tried to start a band back in February.
Oh.
Yeah.
We had 2 practices. We were getting ready to do our third, and they're like, you guys can't gather anymore. So,
Yeah, I know your pain, man. Like I just started like an Alice in Chains tribute band, and we had 1 gig in January, at the end of January, and then we had 6 gigs lined up, all canceled. And we were just like, oh God, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah. I mean, like with what I do for my business and now even this channel, I'm used to doing like conventions and stuff. That's like a big part for my business. And then also I've done 1 convention with Dan for Console Wars so far, but it's just like normally I'd probably do 6 to 7 a year. Nothing all of last year. So that was a fun little hit. And then I think it was September or October the year prior that we did the one that was a video game con.
Yeah, and we had a couple cons lined up too.
Yeah. Yep. We were supposed to do a few. I was looking forward to them. I love doing the cons.
Yeah, we had one together, and I was going to one by myself, and all the cons. Man, I missed the cons.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one thing I've seen. It seems like everyone says going out to things like that is one of the worst parts. Is not being able to do that interaction with other people. That's so much fun about doing this because, like, when I first started doing this, I just tell my wife, said I'd love to get to the point where I get a chance to go to conventions and different things. I said, hopefully. I said, the 25 years is going to take me to grow the channel big enough. By then, hopefully, COVID's over.
Right.
Oh, God.
See what happens by July. Everybody keeps saying, we'll have enough to have everybody vaccinated by July. So
I'm supposed to have a gig in June. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I have, as of right now, I have a convention booked in June.
This has been the world's most boring apocalypse ever.
Yes. I know. Thank God for alcohol.
For real. Alcohol, I think it was a 400% increase in alcohol sales last year.
Yeah, obviously.
Yep.
Maybe I shouldn't have got out of the bar business.
Oh, no, that wouldn't have mattered. Liquor stores only. You would have.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, because bars, oh, how I missed them.
Oh, yes.
All right, so you said, can we get a sneak peek as to what, or any kind of spoiler as to what the next project is, or are you keeping that tightly under wraps? You said the script's written.
Okay, I have the script written. I'll tell you this: it's not like a one-to-one video game comparison. It's something else.
There's some mystery.
like we said before, I mean, you got plenty of games, but you got all the accessories to play with too.
Oh yeah. See, the light gun episode is probably one of my favorites because
That was a fun
so
one to do.
different.
Yeah, that was a really fun. I was so happy that intro. I'm still proud of that one. I
Yeah.
got to channel my IT crowd playing the dude with the mustache. It was so fun for me to do.
I even like the closing with just like the little scope going around.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was a great
Yeah,
episode.
very golden eye.
I say my favorite joke on that entire one was the does it do old Aussie?
Oh.
I was like, yes!
Yeah, I was trying to think of like a band, like a contemporary or an older metal band that like I don't really like anymore. So I was telling my wife, that was Sam who delivered that line. Does it play old Ozzy?
Mm-hmm.
That
No.
long pause, like really
Yeah.
thinking about it.
No. Oh, okay.
It's like, well, there gives that idea.
Forgot about that.
Seeing the
line.
little bits like that is when you really bring in more about. It tells you more about personality of people involved too when you hear things that are outside of just the game.
Yeah. Because we're dorks in like every aspect.
Yeah,
Music,
like,
movies,
I was
TV
gonna
shows.
say,
We
I'm
try
a
to bring that in.
movie guy. I'm more than video games or anything. I think like comic books were my big one growing up. Movies were probably my biggest
Mhm.
thing. And now I'm living in the world of the MCU, so it's going pretty well.
Yeah. It went from the whole all those comic books thing that's just for little kids to the same people saying that are going, did you see Thor? Did you see Ragnarok?
Yeah.
It's like I remember when they first started the Marvel universe, I really wasn't interested in watching the movies. I just had a feeling it was going to be like the old hero movies. I was like, I don't want to see these. And then I finally got drug out to watch. The first one I saw was Avengers.
Oh, okay.
So instantly, I'm like, I have to go back and watch everything.
I was gonna say, if you're jumping off on that, yeah.
I was like, this is so good.
Like, to me, Iron Man 1 is still one of my favorites, just because it was so well done and kicked everything off.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids, to this day, I think their favorites are the first Guardians movie, and then Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Those are the funny ones.
Yeah. I got my Star-Lord helmet and my Star-Lord jacket.
But now you just have you done any of the? I know you've done a few superhero games, but not a whole lot. I'm trying to think of even which ones there are, how many there are out that are for both. I think most of them were at this point.
Yeah, I think the only one there's a Spider-Man Separation Anxiety, the follow-up to Maximum Carnage, is still out there. Death of Superman, or Superman's Death, I think is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I hated that game.
I think a lot of people.
I was just bad at it.
I remember the Hulk game. That was fun.
Oh, the Hulk game. Yeah, we got the Hulk games too.
Yeah.
I think we actually have those. Both
We
of
do.
those.
Somebody, they were donated a few months back in one of the package drops.
Cool.
Yeah, I actually remember. Like, I rented that a few times. I never bought it, but I played that a good amount because it was just fun.
Oh, Spider-Man, X-Men, Arcade's Revenge.
Arcade's Revenge.
We were almost going to do that one. So close to doing that one.
Yep.
But we have
Maybe
those
down
games
the
too.
line.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, it's definitely on the list. And that's the other funny thing. It's like half the games that come in, aside from some costumes every now and then, it's just like Dan will text me. He's like, "Hey, do you happen to have this laying around?" And I just happen to have a weird amount of dumb shit. So I was just like, "Yeah, I have that prop. We got this."
Yeah, I'll tell the Batman Forever story. Yeah, we were doing Batman Forever. I was the Riddler, and the Riddler has, the top hat with the question mark on it, and I left it at my house, and I had the costume with the suit with the question marks, but I didn't have the hat, and I was so pissed. I was like, "Oh man, that hat was so good." I'm like, "Pat, I don't suppose you have like a green cap or something?" And he just happened to have a green cap that for St. Patrick's Day, and he was able to Sharpie in a question mark. And I was like, well, this is even nicer quality than that styrofoam thing I had, so upgrade.
Yeah, it was like velvety or something.
Yeah.
Okay. That's beautiful. What is that, velvet?
I know, like I said, I really enjoyed seeing the evolution of the channel and seeing how the videos have changed and the production's gone up and everything. And it's, like I said, it's easily one of my probably top 3 or 4 that I watch on a regular basis still.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Like I said, there's quite a bit of them out there. I'm still finding videos I haven't seen yet, which is really cool because like I made the mistake with some of them, like Nvidia Gamer, binge watching over like a 2 or 3 day span almost all of his content. I'm like,
right.
crap. Well, now what?
Mhm.
because that isn't coming out rapid fire. This stuff isn't super easy.
Yeah. I remember used to binge his stuff like back in the day, and then I'd be like, well, gotta watch it again, I
Yeah.
guess.
Because I'll give his stuff 3 or 4 months and go back and watch it over because, again, a lot of the stuff is like, I don't know. I enjoy watching more and more now, more YouTube and less anything else because seeing the creativity of people that aren't, in the business is so much more fun sometimes.
Yeah. Now I go down rabbit holes on YouTube all the time anymore. It's just like I'll find one video or look up one thing I'm trying to find. Like same with Dan, I like a lot of video game music, so I look for a lot of covers, so like people who do metal covers or just like acoustic covers. There's a lot of cool stuff out there. So you look up one and it's just like, oh, maybe you'll like this one. I did. Maybe I'll like that one. I might. Like you just keep going and going and going.
Oh yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that you were trying to put together a Alice in Chains tribute band, and my first thought was like, well, when I wrestle, my entrance theme is Angry Chair.
What? That's one of my favorites. Like people always ask me, "What's your favorite Alice in Chains?" I'm like, it's either Angry Chair or And We Die Young. Wow, nice.
I've always thought that's such a fantastic. When I first started getting trained to do wrestling, I was like, this would be such a great song for someone to come out to if they're like, a heel or a bad guy, because the song is just angry and ugly.
Yeah, it's so gritty and raw. It's like, and then you hear Lane's like drone vocal, like, it's pretty cool, man. I love that song.
Yeah, my first couple of videos I made for my channel, I used, I said my YouTube channel is Unhinged Gamer, and the largest reason with that is my wrestling character is a crazy person who I have like Unhinged written on the tights and everything. So it was like, that's an easy crossover for me. And I brought that character in to have him as like a multiple personalities, but they're all showing up on the screen. I was like, that's an easy premise. I can write whatever I want. If you go into the realm of, well, we're crazy, anything goes. So like I think my first comedy attempt was I was trying to play a Mega Man game, and I stole the controller from myself, and I look up and I'm like, it's me. And there I am with the face paint on, and I'm holding the other controller instead. And I was like, yay, instantly I've got something ridiculous. And unless you're one of the 150, maybe 200 people that have seen me wrestle live, you have no idea what's going on. My wife's like, you going to explain it? Nope.
Nope. Sometimes the more random it is, the funnier it is.
Right. That's normally the case.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I did have
Coyote, you're in.
Exactly.
You talked about having to do reshoots and stuff. I had a really terrible issue. I was trying to do an episode for Christmas, and I was trying to do Twisted Metal.
It's funny you brought that up. For some reason, that just popped in my mind with Sweet Tooth.
My kid wanted to be involved in the video really badly, so I got this weird all-white mask, and I was like, you can be Calypso, kid. And I gave him his lines, and it took forever to get him to record them. And when I was editing, I realized that the audio didn't record for any of his lines.
Ooh.
And I wasn't about to do it again because it took a couple hours. This video is 10 minutes long tops. Oh. So I dubbed my own voice over it. So you see this little kid laughing. Instead of hearing his giggle voice, you hear this, I'm Calypso.
Right. That's awesome.
And at first I looked at it, and the more I looked at it, I went from hating it to loving it back to hating it by the time I was done with the video.
That usually happens. Yeah, if you stare at it long enough, you just be like, "What is it? What am I doing? This is dumb as shit." And then you'd be like, "Wow, this is brilliant!" Yeah, it's like it's so weird being a creator. You just the emotions you got from just watching your own stuff. It's like, I don't know. So bizarre.
I think sometimes the hardest part can be figuring out what game you're covering.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to find some like inspiration. Just be like, well, what do I feel like covering? I could do that, but like I'm not really feeling that one.
Sometimes it's up to votes. Other times it's just like, all right, well, we have this.
Yeah, or like sometimes like usually we let the patrons decide, but sometimes it's like tied. I don't know.
Yeah.
Often it's tied, like which one they want. So I remember like for Halloween, it was sort of tied between Clue and Addams Family, and I was kind of leaning towards Clue at first because I thought, oh, I had this idea where we'd be like at a murder mystery party and like we'd have famous video game characters like Sonic and Mario just slowly one getting killed one at a time. So I thought that'd be kind of a fun idea. But then like I started playing the game and I was like, all right, maybe Addams Family because this game is not fun.
My mind went Addams Family. Like I thought it just opened up more options.
It was tough though, because like I tried to style that episode specifically like after the style of Addams Family humor, and I think I got it pretty well.
Yeah,
So,
no, it definitely
So
came through.
that one was really good.
yeah, that's one of my favorite episodes because I worked really hard at it.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones where I really started noticing. I'm like, the production's really going up on these with the
Yeah.
with the more use of the green screen and stuff. And I was like, okay, you can tell things are going good. And I was thinking about that actually last week, and that's why I looked on and saw that you had the news of the breaking 50,000 subscribers. Which again, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So how?
Yeah.
The contest you were doing for that's already ended, right?
Yeah, that ended. We already picked the winners. Actually, just finished putting together a compilation of everybody's efforts into one mashup of the song. It's it'll be released tomorrow, but I could send you a link after this.
Yeah, we had a lot of cool submissions, and like obviously, we had to pick 3, so we wanted to give everybody their shot.
Yeah, because that's not easy,
Right.
I will say when I saw the announcing of the contest and you mentioned the idea of someone just like basically just using their own voice for the song, and you guys did it, I was like, I want to see you guys do one episode where that's the intro is you guys doing it. I was like, that'd just be great.
We had said something about that. We might still do it at some point.
Maybe. We did have somebody, he's Triforce Films, I think is the name of the channel, and he does like acapella stuff, where like acapella version of the Power Rangers theme song. He did a acapella version of all songs in our episode for NBA Jam.
Nice.
So check that out. Yeah, he did the intro like all acapella. It sounds pretty good.
Okay. And it's funny
it wouldn't
actually.
be so pretty if I did it.
Yeah. we had one submission that I didn't even realize we had. Like we had probably 30 to 40, maybe. I mean, like at one point, emails just kept coming in. I was just like, and they'd get pushed down and down and down. And we try to watch them as they come in, but again, we both have jobs and a lot else going on. So Dan's rambling off some of the names to me when I was like, wait a minute, what? And there's one name that I recognize, and actually it's who ended up being our second place winner. But spoiler alert. But it's his one channel I've been following for a while, and again, just found YouTubing like all these metal video game covers, and the page is Nostalgica, and it's Nestalgica. It's pretty cool. But I found that out. I was like, that's awesome, and then it was just like a little fan service kind of thing,
Oh yeah.
So, and yeah, he's a friend of ours. I was like, that's awesome.
So having for myself coming up through, like I said, trying to do the wrestling, which is such a protected, guarded thing, especially around here. The guys that do it are still very old school with not letting people know on the inside. They want to toughen you up, and then like how I told you how some people are with music over here. When I first started trying to do videos, I was thinking about when I started contacting other creators and asking them about stuff. I was always leery of it because everywhere else I've tried to do that kind of stuff, people are very guarded and protected, and it does seem like, at least in the gaming realm of the YouTube videos, it's some of the friendliest, like, more caring and helpful people that I've ever had to work with. As far as like, you get encouragement a lot. I think for me, anyways, I'm sure you guys have had experience a lot more with one of the conventions, meeting other content creators. Has it pretty much has it been positive for you as well, or?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah,
like,
I can't say anything that's been like a negative.
So everyone I've talked to that's done it, that's always one of the big things they say is like, I love meeting the other creators and we can talk about, I'm working on this, that's cool, I'm working on that, and help each other and like tossing it. I'm like, that is such a great open area. I can see why, especially this past with the pandemic, a lot of people are getting into it now because they're finding themselves with more free time. Like I know I am.
Right. And I feel like a lot of people have picked up new projects or like trying out new things that they've always wanted to do, which is like, well, now's the time to do it.
Yeah. Any advice you'd have for someone for new creators that are trying to get into doing this?
My biggest advice is just keep at it. I know a lot of people think like maybe where's that one video I'm gonna make that's just gonna make me blow up, but most likely it's not gonna happen. But if you love doing it, just keep doing it, and then people will find your channel, and you'll start to create a community. Like I said, it took me a year and a half to get 50 subscribers for this channel. Now we're at 50,000.
Yep.
So just keep at it. Tenacity. That's all. That's the key. Just it's a lot of work. Keep at it, and hopefully things fall into place for you.
Yeah.
So I think you have to love what you're doing on this too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like people, like Pat said, like people are like, why don't you do it without the skits? Because I love the skits. That's kind of my favorite part of the thing.
That's our favorite part. Yeah.
Yeah. So if I wasn't doing the skits and I was just doing straight up comparison reviews, I'd be pretty bored and I wouldn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many people already doing that too.
Yeah, exactly. I think the skits make us stand out a little bit. I mean, I know there's channels.
We'd be sitting there talking completely deadpan, wearing lab coats. What's the fun in that? Yeah, which, by the way, let's do lab coats.
I do have lab coats.
I think I probably have one.
You probably do.
Let's be honest here.
When I first started trying to figure out what I wanted to do, my first thought was, well, I'll do something with wrestling because I love it. I'm doing it. I'm a wrestler, so I know the insider stuff. And I made like a 10-minute video about Chris Jericho. And by the end of it, I was like, I am so bored. I don't ever want to make another one. People are like, when's your next one? Not happening. Then even my first gaming one I did was on Mega Man 2, and it was just a review. And I started watching other reviews. I'm like, mine is so bad. There's like no details. They're able to tell you like this happened in this year, and I'm like, it's a game. It's got some cool levels.
Just a regular dude who likes Mega Man 2. What more do you want from me, man?
Right. So that's why I started writing my own scripts and coming up with. I'm like, it's probably gonna be lame, bad comedy, but YouTube was built on bad comedy.
Yes, it was. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And anyone that doesn't want you to do the skits should just shut up.
I'm always like, there's plenty of other channels, or you're welcome to start your own channel. I hope one day you'll just join us, and because we're all having fun here. Oh, geez, I'm sorry. I told you to go fuck yourself. I'm so sorry.
You're like, that's where you go, just jump to 2 minutes in, you're good. Then like the last 2 minutes, cut back out.
I hate the comments, like when they do the timestamp, like in the comment sections, like, oh, video starts at 4:33. You're welcome. Wow.
Right. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. I've seen those.
You're like, OMG, I had no idea. Thank you for telling me.
Right. And you know what though? I don't think I've ever seen a single little like on those comments.
Well, there's usually at least one because they always like it themselves.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think I'm pretty much out of questions. I was probably out of questions about 10, 15 minutes ago.
Okay. I mean, I was actually just going to say I'm probably going to have to get going soon. I haven't seen my girlfriend in like 3 weeks, and she just started her like normal full-time schedule at work again, so it's just like trying to get here a little bit before she goes to bed.
Yeah. I can see why that would be a little bit important. Yeah. I've been married for almost 13 years now, so.
Damn.
Well, let's see. So more COVID fun. She got it, and then I got it. So she had it for her 2 weeks, and then I caught it the end of her first week. So then it overlapped where I had my 2 weeks, and she's been clear for a week, so we just haven't seen each other. Like when she was sick, I would drop off like care packages for like anything she needed, dog food or anything, and then just like disappear. And then she's been doing that for me for the last week. So it's just like, hi, here, bye.
Yeah, it's definitely this. Hopefully they're right, and hopefully things will start clearing up soon with all the COVID stuff, because I think everyone's getting pretty well sick of it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Very sick of it.
Yeah, especially now that, like, it wasn't so bad here for the longest time. Like, Jersey was actually doing pretty okay with it, especially in the beginning, like, when everybody else was doing horribly with it. And then the last 2 months, it's just like, here it is.
Right. Any cheap plugs you want to put in for merchandise channels or links?
Yeah, sure. If
I'll have all those put in the description as well. So if you're watching this, you want to know where to find their merchandise, it will be in the description below.
Okay, I'll send you a link in the email to the website. It's my website, and we do sell the Console Wars gear through it because it's an online store instead of paying for a few online stores.
Okay.
And we don't sell enough to, necessitate the website fee every month. But
I understand that.
Yeah. So it's just dknj.com. It's DECAYNJ.com. It's all it is a Jersey themed thing because that's my brand, and this is the logo. Yeah, it's you got New Jersey with a little bit of horror, a little bit of video game, a little bit of comic book nerdery, even some like historical stuff because Jersey has a weird history.
Yeah, that's definitely. I'm gonna have to check that out myself then. So definitely, like I said, if you've watched this far and I haven't ran you off, and by all means, make sure you check out their stuff and buy the merch.
Appreciate it. I actually make like design and print them all myself, so it's not like I'm ordering out and be like, here you go.
So Pat
So what he's
Snips
saying is, if
every
you
shirt.
don't buy this, he doesn't get to eat.
Facts. Feed the children I don't have.
He's got like a kid and 7 wives to feed. Come on.
The horrible Amazon addiction.
Yes, he does.
Who's gonna pay for your beer
Let me
money?
have it, Dan.
He just texts me randomly. Look what I bought drunkenly. I'm like, oh, good job, buddy.
They're not going to use the size at some point.
Look, if you don't buy their merchandise, they're gonna have to resort to Beam's 8-star, and nobody wants that.
Right? Poor little Jeff Bezos. Come on.
All right, well, thanks for doing this with me, guys. It's definitely been a pleasure. Hopefully I haven't bored you as much as I feel like I have, but...
Nah, it's been fun, man.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
had a great time.
That was fun. Oh, can I plug in? I just want to plug my
Yes.
Retro versus Remake, my other thing that I do. It's a movie comparison. I like the comparisons. I don't know. Somebody said I like purposefully... fuck, I can't remember what he said. Anyway, I just like there always has to be a winner in something that I do, I guess. So the Retro versus Remake, I'll give you the link for that. We compare movies and the remakes. We recently did Superfly was the last episode we did. I didn't even know it had a fucking remake. So
there always has to be a winner. That sounds like Sega.
Yeah.
So check that out if you like it. It's more of just like a freestyle with me and my buddy Reggie, our mutual friend with Pat.
There you go.
That we just talk about the movies. So
It's all connected. It's a very small world after all, especially in places like Jersey, right?
Uh-huh.
yeah.
All right, well, like I said, if you're watching this, make sure you check out the stuff. The links will be in the description below. Eventually, and I am neither Nintendo or Sega, but they are. I almost
We're
just thought
doing-
Nintendo. I'm like, no, I'm
We're
not.
Are we no longer doing this?
We did it.
Apparently, we've done this.
Yeah.
Worst podcast ever.
Oh, had a great time, man.
Yeah, I had fun. That was fun.
We've been
Yeah, I should have been
hopefully
like, hey, let's
informative.
bring
I
out
don't
your
know.
guitar and play a song or something. And you're like, I don't want to do that.
That's how you get all your audio taken out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. I'm not monetized. I'm good.
They'll still take away your audio.
Yeah.
That's true. I realized that I used to put audio in my wrestling promos. So I would be done with my video and I'd upload it and immediately it's gone.
Yep.
Mhm.
So I had to find different ways to get it to the promoters because I was just uploading to YouTube for them to get it and they couldn't get it.
Oh, jeez.
It's like you set it up to be all badass, and you like the only things you can find, like the duty free or whatever, the no copyrights. Would be like, here, I just really like Beethoven. That's the only thing you can use, like classical music.
I went through all the work. I would go through all the work of getting all the gear on. Even though I'm only filming from the chest up, I'd have all the gear on, boots and everything. Face paint, I'd have the hair pulled down. I'd pipe in like angry chair in the background. And I'm sitting there like, cutting these evil promos. When I get my hands on you, you don't even know what I'm going to do. And then they'd be like, yeah, all you get is just silence of this man slapping himself for no reason.
Well, again, that is a red flag on that gentleman. Get the FBI in here.
Yeah, I did one. I was so mad. I spent like 8 hours of editing a 2-minute video, and all it was trying to get the audio synced right.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a whole segment in it where I was trying to put over that I'd been attacked and that this guy couldn't keep me down. And I did this whole segment where for about 10 seconds straight, I slapped myself. So this entire side of my face was like swollen from it, audio stricken.
Sorry to hear that.
So when we got to the building for the show, I'm like, here's a flash drive. Put this in, play it for the crowd.
There you go.
He hurt myself.
Nice.
All right, well, thanks for doing this, and maybe down the road I'll be able to drag you guys on here again. Maybe a retro versus remake.
There you go.
Sure, there you go. He's a stand-up comic, Reggie. So
Yeah.
He's a stand-up comedy. He's a genre.
he is a whole genre upon himself, and he has like
He's
5 billion podcasts also.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, oh, this is like just one of the many things I do.
Yes, he has a lot.
I
of
wear a
podcasts.
lot of hats.
Nothing wrong with hats.
Yep.
All right. Well, you've been, like I said, make sure you check out Console Wars. They are Console Wars, and their channel is amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth checking out.
That's cool.
If you like my stuff, you'll definitely like theirs because their humor is actually funny. And
Yeah, me and Paddle, yeah.
compared to mine, I did make a video about the Sega CD where me and my friend never talked about the Sega CD.
Okay.
Oh, it's
So
kind of
that
like
was- that was my deal with the
Seinfeld, the contest, Seinfeld,
Yep.
master of your domain and whatnot.
Yeah.
We were like, let's reminisce about the Sega CD, and it cuts to the soft music back and forth between two of us doing the, yeah, that was great. And it ends up going, that was a terrible add-on, and that was the whole video.
Yep.
Like a 5.5-minute joke about nothing. There is no punchline, really.
That's good. I like that. I'll steal that. No, just kidding.
I figured I'd have Dan angry because I'm making fun of Sega.
We're pretty versatile.
I swing both ways.
Exactly.
You know?
As long as you haven't brought Scorpion on here to threaten me yet, so I think we're going pretty good.
No Scorpion.
That is easily my favorite impersonation you've done is this Scorpion.
That's actually my buddy.
I heard that, I'm like, those are great. Well, looking for a job, I was like, I want to see this actually play out now. I was like, is there like going to be a little link on the side here? You can actually see Scorpion doing this job here.
Yeah. Just office worker scoring.
Mm-hmm.
As you can tell, I'm clearly as bad at ending videos as I am starting them. All right, well, thanks for putting up with us. Thanks again, guys, for doing this. And like I said, you're watching the Unhinged Gamer and Console Wars.
Thank
Later.
you for having us, man.
Yeah.